Hey, what up, social media friends and family? This your man, Johnny the Hammer Higgins, again today. And today I'm going to pick up where I left off at. Yesterday I showed you your boxing stance with the jab. In the sequence, the jab will be 1. So punches have a number with them as well in the boxing world. So in boxing, the sequence, the number would be 1 with your jab. So I showed you your jab yesterday from the conventional or orthodox stand. That's when you lead with your left hand, with your right hand in the back. And I also showed you your jab or your number 1 from the southpaw stance. And that's when you lead with your right hand or your right foot. So we're going to start just a recap of what we learned yesterday, which was your jab. I'm going to go over that with you a couple more times before I get into the 2, which is your straight right. Okay? So remember your stance, your feet were slightly apart, back foot 45-degree angle, front foot maybe like a 95-degree angle, knees slightly bent, hands up. Remember your right hand protected your chin on the right side of your face, and your left hand protected your left jaw. So your knees were slightly bent, and you were going to step forward with your left foot and punch with your left hand like so. Remember, you want that chin to be protected by your left shoulder. So you're going to go backwards and forwards. Again, I'm doing it slow for you just so you can pick it up a little easier. Get them hands back, in and out. You're going in and out. So that will be your jab from the left side. Now remember, if you're southpaw, you're going to do the same thing, but from the opposite stance with the opposite lead foot. Your right foot going to be leading. You're going to punch with your right hand like so. Remember, you're still keeping that left hand up, protecting the left side of your face, getting that right hand back to your jaw. You want to go backwards and forward. Chin tucked, head down. Backwards and forwards. 2 jabs, 2 forward, 2 backwards. 2 forwards, 2 backwards. If you're a switcher, you always switch, take a step back. That's how I was taught. So, you know, you got people who fight from both sides and they'll walk forward, but if you walk forward, you potentially could be walking into a punch. So I always was taught to take a step back if you switch. And that's another, that may be a little complicated. We'll get into that a little bit later as we continue to learn. All right? So going back to that jab from that conventional side, because I'm right-handed, you have different types of jabs, right? So I'm showing you a basic jab, not really lazy, a little speed on it. You want your hands to move just as fast as your feet. So that's still a basic jab. I'm going to add a little pop on it. So when you pop it, you want to move it a little faster, and at the end of your punch, you want to put a little pop on it, a little snap on it. It's a snapping jab. Almost like I like to think about like you catching a fly, like you trying to catch a fly, like you trying to catch something. Turn your hand slightly, put a little pop on it, a little snap on it. A little head movement, keep that right hand up, pop a little bit. Then you get into moving a little bit. Every step is a punch, and every punch is a step. Take that head. Good. If I was southpaw, it would look like that. Give them different angles. Good. And now today, your next punch in a sequence, which is called a 2. I'm right-handed, so a 2 will be a straight right. Now don't get it confused. Some people call it a right cross because it comes straight out after the jab. I guess it's because it goes across, but I call it a straight right. That's how I was always taught back in the old Windy City. So you have your 1, which is your jab. Can you see my feet, sweetie?
Yeah.
So you have your 1, which is the jab. When you step forward with your lead foot punching with your lead arm, like so. And then you have your 2, which is your second punch in the sequence I'm going to show you. And it's like so. So what you want to do, from that boxing stance, knees slightly bent, again, right foot at a 45-degree angle, left foot pointed forward, but not really straight, more like 90 degrees, hands up. You want to turn. So I like to explain it like this. For me, boxing is in the core. It's not in the arms. It's in the core, it's in the hips, it's in the lumbo-pelvic hip complex. That's what you call this part of your body right here, the lumbo-pelvic hip complex, all right? So when you throw a right hand, knees slightly bent, your left leg will be your balance. So what you want to do, you want to, I'm going to drop my left hand so you can see the mechanics of my body. With your right hand up, you want to turn your hip at the same time and pivot your back foot as you're punching, like so. Can you see my right foot?
Yes.
And you want to follow through with the punch. Turning the hip, turning the core, following through, pivoting your back foot. And you want to follow all the way through with the punch. You want your shoulder, you want your arm to be straight from your shoulder to the tip of your fist, with your elbow up. Some people just throw the punch with their elbow down, but I'm going to teach you how to punch with your elbow up, because when you punch with your elbow up, it's harder. It's a harder punch. It's more force. You want to put that shoulder into that punch too, which is going to make it even harder. I'm teaching you how to throw a right hand the hammer way. Now, it's a lot of punches you can throw with your right hand, but this is what's called a straight right hand. All right? Which is a number 2 in the sequence. And remember, that's again if you're an orthodox or conventional fighter. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to throw a number 2 if you were a southpaw fighter, which is called a straight left or a left cross, depending upon what school of boxing you come from. So if you throw your straight left, you want to be in the same position, just turned around with your right foot leading, your right hand leading, and you want to bend that right knee slightly for balance. Your balance is on your right leg, and you want to pivot and go through with that left hand, using the hip, using the core, the hip, and the ball of your left foot, and you want to go through with it. You want to turn all the way through, elbow up, put your shoulder into it, put your back into it. All right? So, again, the punch that I showed you today was the 2. And it would be a straight right if you're a conventional or orthodox fighter. And it would be a straight left if you were a southpaw fighter. All right? Give me one moment. I had to get a little water. I was a little parched there. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to put those 2 punches together, which is my favorite combination in the whole world. It's called the 1-2. All right, Muhammad Ali made this famous, Sugar Ray Leonard. So what a 1-2 is, it's a basic combination. It's when you start out with the 1, or which is a jab, and you follow it up with the 2, which is your straight right hand if you're a conventional or orthodox fighter. So a 1-2 will look like this. I'm going to do it standing in place, and I'm going to do it stepping as well. All right? So it will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you still want to keep your hands up, your elbows tucked, so you can protect your body, you can protect your chin. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now you don't pivot a jab. If you were standing in place, you could pivot a jab. Some people would teach you that you could pivot a jab, but I don't pivot a jab. I either step on a jab or I keep that left foot in place and just put it out there with the shoulder. All right? So again, we're going to do that 1, 2. 1, 2. Turn the core. 1, 2. 1, 2. Speed it up a little bit. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. You always want to hit with your punching knuckles, which are your top 3 knuckles. You don't want to hit with these knuckles, so when you punch, you want to make sure you turn it over so you can impact with those knuckles. 1, 2. 1, 2. Next thing I'm going to do, after I show you how the 1, 2 look from a southpaw stance, 1, 2. Standing. 1, 2. 1, 2. You still want, you see how the hip turn? 1, 2. Put that core. Let it loosen up. 1, 2. 1, 2. Shoulder up. 1, 2. Elbow up. 1, 2. Shoulder is not elevated, but it's going straight through. From the shoulder to the tip of the fist. Elbow up. 1, 2. Next, I'm going to step with it. So again, when you jab, you want to step with your left foot, punch with your left arm simultaneously, like so. Hands up. Back and forward. So that's the jab. So that's 1 jab, that's 1, and the 2. Follow through the straight right. 1 step, 2. 1 step, 2. 1 step, 2. Can you see my feet? 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. When you're going backwards, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now again, for me, because I'm an advanced boxer, I don't step back with my right foot when I jab and then step with my left when I throw a 2. My 1, 2 will look more like this. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So my 1, 2, I will step back with my left as I jab and step back with my right as I throw a straight right. It just makes you more mobile. You can move a little bit faster. And you also can turn that right hand a little bit more, okay? So next I'm going to show you how to throw a 1, 2 from your southpaw stance, all right? So if you're a southpaw fighter, again, that's your leading with your right foot and your right arm with your left hand being a strong arm in back. It will look like this. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. You don't want to be too square, but you don't want to be too sideways either. 1, 2. Turn that hip. Turn that hip. One, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. All right. So now what I want to do is what a good friend suggested me to do. He said, you know what, Johnny? I think that's good. He had a great idea. He said, I think it'd be good if you turned around. That way people can mirror you and they can see how it looks from a more real position, kind of like a virtual position. So I said that made sense. Instead of me facing the camera, I'm going to turn away from the camera. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn my back and go forward so you can see how it would look if we was going forward. It would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's how it looks if you was actually going forward. So when you're jabbing forward, you want to push off that back leg and step with your front arm simultaneously. And if you're a southpaw fighter, it'll be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Cool, cool. So that's all I'm going to show you guys for today, which again was the 2 in the boxing sequence. So a 2 is a straight punch. It's a straight right if you are a conventional or orthodox fighter, and it's a straight left if you are a southpaw or a left-handed fighter. All right? Let me know if you have any other questions or comments.
You got a question.
What's the question?
And the question is a heavy bag a good way for training your punches, your punch? Meat Truck. That's their name.
Hey, Meat Truck. Yes, a heavy bag is an excellent way to train your punches because it gives you something to impact. And you can actually feel your power. But if you don't have a heavy bag, shadow boxing will do just as well. All right? You can't hit nothing. You just beat in the air. But what you can do, you can focus on your form and your mechanics. You can feel how it should feel properly to throw the punch. Now, you can't feel how it would feel properly for the punch to land, but you can feel how it would feel to throw the punch. All right? And we are going to get off into some bag drills and things like that later on as I continue to do this this program. But right now, we're just dealing with shadow boxing because of the COVID. You know, we want to give people things that they can work on at home. All right? Hope that answers your question.
Okay, so that was the only question.
That was the only question?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, hey, well, look, guys, that's my time. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in to Hammer Fitness and Boxing. Your man, Johnny the Hammer Higgins. You know, again, we're in due to the COVID-19, but it doesn't mean that we're out. Thank you. Look forward to hearing from you. Let me know what you think. Follow me on Facebook, all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel that I just started. I'm going to drop all the information in so you can subscribe to it. All right, guys.
You got one more question. I'm sorry. Anthony Harris said, how should you hold your chin and hands when you throw a punch?
Hey, Anthony, how you doing, man? Long time no see. All right, I actually got into that yesterday, but I will just do a recap for you today. So when you throw your punch, you should hold your hands up around your chin, and your chin should be tucked. Not too much because it's not comfortable, but you want your chin down, you know, because that's how you get knocked out, by getting hit on the chin. It's like your chin is connected to your knees, and I don't understand. It only takes 15 pounds of pressure for your knees to buckle. So you want to protect your chin. You want to keep your chin down and your hands up. So it would look like this. And again, I like to tell people that you want to keep your right hand up like you're talking on the telephone, like you got a telephone up. So you want to protect that right chin, and you want your left hand up, protecting your right jaw. So I can't demonstrate this to you, but if you're like this, if you can see my hands, my right hand is protecting my chin, my left hand right in front of my left jaw. So any punches can't just come through, because when you have on boxing gloves, it's a little extra added cushion. So that's how you want to be. And again, when you jab, you want your shoulder to protect your chin and your right hand up. All right? Like so. When you throw that right, you want your left hand up, protecting that jaw, and you want to follow through like so. If you can see, My chin is protected by my shoulder, and my other chin is protected by my left hand. So that's how it should look. All right, so I hope that answers your question, Anthony. If you have any other questions, feel free to inbox me or reach out to me. All right, thank you again, guys. That's my time. Hey, look, we might be down, but we're not out. Hammer Fitness and Boxing is still going strong. Johnny out.